ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सागण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनधारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं पूर्वे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, Hari Bol. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Rekha Mataji and Neelam. Is that mom or Neelam auntie?
Yes, beta, I'm here.
Oh, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you for joining. So I think mom has also seen the movie. So we were just going to talk just a few minutes because I really want to get to the question and answers. But this movie Kerala Story, you know, this is basically um, it explains how some people can exploit those weak people that are weak in their faith, people that are not very firmly situated, that do not understand their roots, that do not understand their traditions, their culture, their rituals. They are born in a particular faith, but they have not practiced a faith properly. So it highlights the importance of why one should be practicing our faith properly, why one should understand its various aspects. Why are we doing something? Ask questions. If your mom is doing arti in the morning, if she's praying to Tulsi Maharani, if she's singing a certain arti, what is the meaning of that arti that she's singing? Why is she offering a ghee lamp every day to the Lord? Why are we worshipping the deities? Um, and so you know, so many, yeah. Sheetal Mataji posted here, why should we observe Ekadashi? So like that, you know, your parents are doing something, kids should ask these questions, so that just like you do in the school, right? Your teacher teaches you some problem and you ask them why, how did you solve this maths problem, or how is you know, 4 into 4 16, like what is going on? So ask these questions, because when you are deeply situated, better situated in your practices, your traditions, the criminal minded people, I'm not going to call these religious people because these are not religious people. The people shown in the movie, they're terrorists basically. They're criminals. They're sinful people who are committing crimes, not only against women, but also against their own religion. Basically, they have tarnished the name of Allah, tarnished the name of their own religion by committing these atrocities. So, so these are not religious people, because they're not spreading good name of Allah. They're not spreading the true sentiments that the religion entails, the scriptures entail, that their prophets might have intended to spread. What they're spreading is crime. They're spreading hatred. They're spreading you know, subjugation of weaker people, of oppression of women, which is not the intent of any dharma. The intent is not to establish your own lordship but the intent is to become humble and tolerant and forgiving and grateful for your blessings. But that is not what these people are doing. So I'm going to call these people criminals, and they're actually terrorists. They're spreading Islamic terrorism. And so these kind of criminal people will not be able to fool you, will not be able to distract you from your faith if you are better situated in your own faith. If you remove your doubts, just like Arjuna did, right? Arjuna called Krishna um, Madhusudan because you killed this demon Madhu. So just like that, we should also kill all these demons that we have in our heart, various demons. We keep practicing certain things, but we don't know why we are doing those things. So that is what that movie entails, that these weak people who are not better situated in their faith, they are being exploited. When they were questioned about their faith, they did not have proper answers. And so these type of religious fanatics or extremists, they will create divides because their intent is to create divide. Their intent is to create hatred for other faiths. A true religion will not actually, true preaching will not create hatred for other faiths. जैसे हम लोग यहाँ पे भगवत गीता पढ़ते हैं, we never condemn other faiths. We say, Prabhupada se kisi ne pucha tha, why have you come to America? We are already practicing Christians. So he told them, if you are not really practicing your faith properly, have come here to make you better Christians, better Jews, better Muslims. So why don't you practice your faith properly? Even he told them. So our goal is not to create divide and hatred for other faiths. That is not the. Remember that you can be born in another religion next life, right? You can be born in another gender next life. You can be born in another species, another planet next life. So that is not the goal, to create divide and to exploit weaker people, because this is not invoking any love for God. The goal of religion is to invoke our dormant love for God, right? To uplift our consciousness, to purify our consciousness to a spiritual consciousness, right? That's why we call it Krishna consciousness. Why did Prabhupada name this institute Krishna consciousness? Why he called this movement Krishna consciousness? Because the goal is to purify our low mentality, low consciousness to higher consciousness. So these people, on the other hand, are very impure, very, very heinous people. They're not pure by any means. So some of the points to learn from this movie. So one point, I think you all understand that we should be practicing our faith. We should be clarifying our doubts from the childhood. We should be well situated. We should read our scriptures, understand our traditions, ask questions, right? That point, I think everybody understands. But then the second point that I got from this movie was that these people are imposing or forcing rules on other people, which is never the case. I have talked about this many times in our Bhagavad Gita classes. You first impose rules on yourself. You first purify yourself. You teach by your own conduct. If you read something from scriptures, you apply those rules on yourself before you even apply on your children. Actually, forget about the world. Whereas what these people are doing, they're imposing, forcing, harassing people to follow their rule, their Sharia law, in mode of ignorance. This is very tamasic, actually, right? Especially weaker people are being forced to follow the rules. You can just guide people. You can just present your intelligent logics and rationales as they have been taught to you in a very gentle, humble manner. But you don't, in a tamasic way, impose people to follow them. So that creates just oppression, and you're demanding people to submit to Lord. You don't demand. People should submit out of love, out of devotion to Lord. You should not demand submission for Allah. So that is, and also by unfair tactics, by false information, by spreading lies, by with threats, and by creating fear in their mind, right? So that is not actual mood of our movement. And I'm not talking about other Hindus in general. I'm only talking about devotees. I'm talking about Krishna conscious devotees, because this is a Krishna conscious community that we have here. We're talking about our community, Hare Krishna devotees, who understand Prabhupada's books, who are reading Bhagavad Gita, how we should talk to other people. We should show by our acharan. We can share the information, but we should show more by our example, by our conduct, by our language, by our thoughts, by our implementation of those rules in our life, right? So first you control your senses, you start controlling your mind, your intelligence, your body, everything, and then you also cultivate other people gently towards this path, right? Otherwise it's just in mode of ignorance. So that's another point I thought was very important. So when we are presenting our knowledge to other people, we should not present it in a tamasic way. So everything can be done in a tamasic way. Even like you are driving car, Ravi Prabhu is driving car. Did you know that the car can be driven in tamasic way? Did you know that? It can be, every action can be done in mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, right? So even car can be driven in the mode of ignorance, right? Or mode of passion or mode of goodness. Anything that we do in life can be done in three ways. So even spreading of your religion, even spreading your faith, your scriptural concepts and philosophies can also be done. We cannot just say because we are speaking Bhagavad Gita, it's always transcendental. No, there are people who speak Bhagavad Gita also in a tamasic way. So these people are presenting their Quran, their most auspicious scriptural book in a very tamasic way, right? So we should be very careful that when we present the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we don't do it in a tamasic way. Do it in a mode of goodness, and then slowly advance to transcendental, where we gently, nicely share this knowledge and give people their free will. Even Krishna has given us free will, right? Even Krishna has given us free will. Even at the end of Bhagavad Gita, you will read in chapter 18, even at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says कि जो आपकी इच्छा है वो करो, right? मैंने आपको ये सारी नॉलेज दे दी है. Now whatever you wish, you do, you decide, Arjun. इतनी सारी नॉलेज के बाद भी he leaves it up to Arjun that whatever you think best, you do. So this is all you can do. You can just share your knowledge, and whatever you want, you do. This is everybody's free will. Everybody's a free spirit. You just connect them to the Lord, and every jiva is a rebellious soul. That's why we are here in the first place. We don't want to connect to the Lord. So when you connect them to the Lord, don't connect them to the Lord in a way that they'll run away from this path. Connect them in a way that they will come towards the Lord. So that's why we just feed them prasadam. We, give them the names of the Lord, the kirtan, which is so melodious, so nectarian, beautiful books of Prabhupada with nice pictures in it. And slowly we attract them towards the Lord, right? So that can be mode of goodness. So don't become a fanatic yourself is another lesson I learned. That don't become an extremist or a fanatic yourself, right? So एक सीन था जिसमें वो पूछती है कि आप खाना हम भगवान को खाना खाने से पहले हम अल्लाह को प्रे करते हैं. And the Christian girl sitting next also prayed, but the two Hindu girls did not pray. So they said कि तुम्हें पता है कि ऐसे खाना खाना sinful होता है, पाप होता है. So that was a very jarring way in which she presented that knowledge. We also understand that it is sinful to eat food without offering to the Lord, right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually uses the word sinful in the verse, right? But when we are presenting it to people that are not practicing, we should not use words like sinful and pap and stuff. We should use words that will bring them close, that will make them want to do things. You should say things like, Lord has given us so much. It'll be nice to just say thank you to him. Just like we say thank you to all the other people in our life, we should also say thanks to the Lord who gave us everything. So then you can gently say, would you like to say this prayer with me? And just say Hare Krishna Mahamantra with them, So very nicely bring people. Don't use words like sinful and stuff, because that actually creates fear. People should not be coming to the path of Lord out of fear, out of fear of God is one way some people come to the path. But as Krishna conscious devotees, we don't try to necessarily bring people with just fear and things. We do talk about it. Even Bhagavatam talks about various hellish planets and all, but just talking about the fear and not giving any higher taste is not the mood of Krishna conscious movement, right? So बार the girl was talking about dozak ki aag mein jaloge, ya fir all this, that you will burn in the hellfire. Yes, there are hellish planets. Even our scriptures talk about it, but we don't need to start talking about that with ordinary, regular people. First, you just, talk about the love of God. Love is the highest reason why someone should come to the Lord. अगर कोई fear से या इन चीजों से आएगा भी, तो he'll be there for very temporary. For a very short time, he will not be very much attracted, and he will be, there out of guilt and out of, fear. That is not a very good sentiment. That will not keep them connected to the Lord for very long. So to connect to the Lord for the lifetime is hard anyways in this world, and you can only connect them to the Lord for this lifetime is by really showing them the highest path of love and devotion, which is bhakti yoga. That's why some people say कि प्रभुपाद ने बार-बार भक्ति योगा पे इतना stress क्यों किया है? That's why he is stressed, because Prabhupada's mood is to cultivate people by nurturing them like a gentle creeper. जैसे कि कोई प्लांट की आप कैसे केयर करते हो, कितना पानी देना है, कितनी खाद देनी है, कितना weeds निकालनी है, कैसे gently आप केयर करते हो, ऐसे gently every soul should be nurtured. Not in a crude, crass way by talking about, the heavy aspects of the scriptures don't need to be highlighted immediately. You just talk about more, gentle aspects, the nectarian aspects of the scriptures. So that was another point I really understood. Other than that, we know that we should train kids from young age that if they have strong roots, so when they hear misinformation about their faith, they will not be distracted or deviated. So कोई गलत व्यक्ति उनको कुछ बताए इससे पहले आप जो सही व्यक्ति हो उनको सही इंफॉर्मेशन दो, राइट, ताकि कोई गलत व्यक्ति उनको कुछ मिसलीड नहीं कर सके. Baki, so mostly the movie was about Islamic terrorism, how they think that other faiths are just haram, or basically their path is the best path, which everybody thinks that their path is the best path. But you're not giving them any spiritual consciousness. There is no concept of universal brotherhood, universal parenthood, so it, how can it be the highest, the best path if it doesn't even connect people to the Lord, really? So the goal is not to just, so their goal was to just convert people and recruit them into all these terrorist organizations, ISIS and all this. So they're not really agents of Lord. They're just agents of these terrorist organizations, and they're misusing the name of their Lord and scriptures to recruit people into these terrorist agencies. So that was my take on this movie. I'll stop here. But let's hear, and there are many aspects to it. I think this movie was the need of the hour. People should know the value of their own faith, should understand that when they are not deeply situated, deeply rooted, then they can be swayed very easily. And there are not people that are not rooted deeply, they cannot stand firmly their ground, or फिर इस तरीके के लोग उनको exploit कर सकते हैं. That is the main thing to understand. And we should also give our kids spirituality, not just religion. Okay? Religion is external, spirituality is internal. So we should give our kids spirituality, not just religion. But जबकि इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है, Hinduism में mostly they're just giving externals, but not really giving the spirituality. So the core principles, the core values, the connection to the Lord, the connection to the scriptures, the yoga process that Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita, that is missing. We're just going to temples, not knowing why we are going to temples, just praying to deities, not knowing who the deity is, why we are praying to them, what are we offering to them, what is the symbolic reason of offering each and every object to the deity. We don't know anything. So the internals should be made strong, and then they reflect better in our externals. Religion is external, spirituality is internal. तो पहले internal strong होंगे, clean होंगे, तब वो बाहर अच्छे से reflect होते हैं. In लोगों के internals clean नहीं है, so the externals that they're doing are coming out in a very impure, criminal, very wrong fashion. So that's my opinion on this. Some devotees had requested, so I presented about this, but let's hear from other people also. Who would like to share? Maybe somebody who has seen the movie, so they know the impact of this. Yes, Prabhuji, Ravi Prabhu. Please be safe while you're driving.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Mataji, I did not see the movie, but I have heard 3 lectures on the movie that ISKCON has come up with. And I watched one of the that was with Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and another Prabhu called Govind Prabhu. So they were in the talk. So takeaway point that I understood that this movie is basically is a false, there is no doubt about it. It's an incomplete information. But for our children, or forget about children, even for us, it doesn't take the knowledge of so much of spirituality. It just requires a logic, simple logic. That's what they were talking. A simple logic is more enough to say that whatever they're saying is false and incomplete. And the example he gave was like, being very much alert of your surroundings, like political alertness is very much recommended. You're not going to be just not keeping yourself aware and informed about what is going on in the rest of the world. And the example the Prabhuji cited, that if the girls who got recruited and sent to this Syria, if she had known that even who actually have a job to go and fight in the Syria for the US Army, they don't even want to go there. They just go as a job of duty because they know it's putting up your life and asking the death to come. So if the girls were so informed about their surroundings also, they would have said, no, why should I go there? I have everything here. So the point was, all of us should have a logic to decide. Obviously, spirituality helps to improve the logic, and spirituality gives us a lot of knowledge. And the knowledge basically let us make good choices. But even if the person is not spiritual or religion, even just a simple intelligence and simple logic should be enough to basically disregard all this kind of a movie and then say whatever you are saying is incomplete information. It's a fake information. I don't buy it. You're just making it to make money. So I like that point, because just the logic, because being alert of your surroundings is very important.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you so much. So situational awareness, right? What is going on around us? What is the political atmosphere? What is the like these girls were studying in a Muslim heavy institution, so be careful. Now the problem with these people, the people that they have shown, is that they are criminal minded. So they are even using drugs and things to influence them. Under the influence of drugs, you lose your any sense, if you are spiritually situated, anything. Because one of the girls was Catholic, was actually a nicely practicing Catholic Christian, and so if somebody does not come under their influence with their loose logics, then they will use drugs and other blackmail and threats and other things to convert them. So be very careful of people around you, right? Especially in such a situation where you are surrounded, like these girls were surrounded by such so many people of different faiths. Yes, Anita Mataji, you have some thoughts?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, Vinay Prabhuji is also listening and he wanted to share something or say
Yes,
something.
Prabhuji, please share.
Actually, I wanted to say the same thing, Mataji, what Ravi Prabhuji already said. Sometimes, people's emotions are exploited for personal benefit. And in recent time, it has happened a lot. They're trying to manipulate the political situation and everything for their own benefit, making not say some money, but a lot of money for themselves, doing in turn damage to the youth's thoughtfulness and everything. See, as you said, already, you have put it very beautifully, that a criminal is a criminal, but tying that criminal to religion, that's how they kind of they misguide the masses. That okay, what's the masses there? So see, this such isolated incident, it didn't only happen in India. There were kids and youths from US and Europe. They did the same thing. They went to Syria and fight. They went there to fight for Islam and whatever it is. But these are isolated incidents. But if you find if you just be aware of your surroundings and what's happening around, at the same time, say similar stories happen without getting it tied to a particular religion as well. So then say why to sensitize say one or two incidents? And if you see the movie producers, they claim that 30,000 or 33,000 such incidents happen. when the information started coming out, they said, oh no, like only 3 such incidents happened. So it's like, they know that there is a sentiment in India right now, like which is like pro-Hindu. So they're like spreading these news in a way that more and more people can come out and watch movies, which is like say, basically a propaganda movie. So like we have to be aware of like such intentions, that why such movies are being made, and put it before us. Is it just for like awareness? Sometimes like you'll see that like even based on a single incident, very nice award-winning movies are made in US, but there is no endorsement saying that hey, we are doing it to make it aware of religious impact of it to our kids or something. If there is a truth should be put without any kind of manipulation. So yeah, that's all like I wanted to say. But you already like
Yes,
clarified
Prabhuji.
that like there are criminals in every religion, and criminals kind of has no religion basically.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're not really going into the logistics of how much money the movie made, or you're right, criminals are in every religion, but also the way this particular religion is converting people um, into their faith, into Muslims, is has gone beyond the limit of tolerance, and it should be talked about. And especially Hindu people need to become pro-Hindus. If it is a propaganda movie, I applaud it. It should be a propaganda movie in favor and to show that Islamic conversions are happening with such unfair means and unfair tactics, so that the Sanatan Dharma people can wake up and start cultivating their kids into this path, should start connecting their kids into spirituality at a young age. So if it was just a story of one girl and the producer made it into a story of 32,000 girls, and if it was a lie, I actually applaud that lie, because that will bring awareness, that will invoke the dormant emotion of Hindus, the atheistic Hindus who have forgotten their roots and are not practicing, not cultivating any spirituality in their kids. They need to wake up and they need to start practicing. So if they are using unfair means to convert Hindus into Muslims, then this movie may be an unfair means to go back into Hinduism, but then that's the unfair means we are using. At least we are not using the unfair means of drugs and blackmail and threats and all those. At least we are using a very popular channel of our cinema to convey our emotions. So if it was just the story of a one girl that was made into 32,000, and if it was just made for money making, that's completely okay. I would be ready to give my money to these people, because they are actually bringing out the Hindus' dead emotions, dead sentiments. Because there have been made enough movies with all these Khans and all that are propagating so much anti-Hinduism, that if we can make just one movie and give some money to them and bring up some dormant emotions for the love of our God, to bring out some reason, some sentiments inside us, then I'd applaud their effort. So I think it was the movie in current times very, very appropriate. I applaud the current government to actually support it, because the Hindus are dying, and this beautiful Sanatan Dharma is dying. And so if the current government is supporting this movie, makes it tax-free, I'd be standing with them. We've had enough of atheistic rule in this country for so long. We need to have some representatives of the Lord. So if they are fighting with threats and blackmail and drugs, then we can fight with at least a movie at the bare minimum. So that's my thought on this. Yes, Manju Mataji.
Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. This movie, I have not watched this movie, but I've watched something similar. I believe Kashmir Files was also based on certain on the same idea of like Hinduism, like how in Kashmir the Pandits were all like they were killed, like how it happened in Germany. So Kashmir Files, it was an eye opener for me. I've not seen this movie, but I want to watch this movie as well, the Kerala story. Then अभी जैसे कि जिन्होंने अभी बताया था ये अभी जो प्रभु बोले थे, I agree on his point. Everybody has a point because everybody's perspective is different. On this, I would say that, cinema has a very crucial role to play in society. What we might never know, it comes out through movies, these kind of movies. Like Kashmir Files, I had no clue कि इतना कुछ हुआ वहां पे, इतनी बेरहमी से कश्मीरी पंडित्स को उन्होंने बिल्कुल ही मार डाला और पता नहीं क्या क्या. So I think जो भी है ये जो फिल्म मेकर्स ऐसी मूवी लेके आते भी हैं, I'm like a big round of applause for them कि they have that guts to bring out the truth in whichever way. थोड़ा ड्रामा थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा डालें कोई बात नहीं, but it has to come out as an eye opener. So there was another movie which I saw yesterday. It was Sirf Ek Banda Kafi Hai by Manoj Bajpayee. It was on that Asharam Prabhu. It was also an eye opener. So all these movies, they bring out certain facts in history which have been hidden from the public domain by political pressure. So I think very good that cinema is coming out with these kind of movies, and I really appreciate it. And दूसरी बात ये है कि politics, yes, politics has a big role to play. Politics हर चीज को घुमा देती है, तो हमको पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट यानी पॉलिटिकली अवेयर होना बहुत जरूरी भी है. अब दूसरी बात ये है कि हमारी हिस्ट्री, लाइक बीइंग हिंदू ऑल्सो, हमें अपने धर्म में, अपने रिलीजन में काफी चीजें पता नहीं है. इसी तरीके से हमको अपनी हिस्ट्री के बारे में भी बहुत सारी चीजें पता नहीं है, क्योंकि हिस्ट्री को जिस तरीके से सीबीएसई बोर्ड में दिखाया गया है, हम जैसे पढ़ते आए हैं. व्हाई आरंट वी प्राउड ऑफ आवर कल्चर, ऑफ आवर हेरिटेज, ऑफ इंडिया, इंडिया द गोल्डन बर्ड? व्हाई? यस, आई एम सॉरी, I'll stop the camera 1 second. मैं कैमरा 1 मिनट ऑफ कर रही हूँ.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो जिस तरीके से हम कहते हैं ना कि हमारे बच्चों को या फिर हमारी जनरेशन में हमको इतनी प्राइड क्यों नहीं होती अपने देश को लेके? Why do we always look upon to other countries or Western culture और जो भी है? Why? Because हमारा जो फाउंडेशन है ना, even the study foundation is not very strong. हमारे क्लासरूम्स में भी जब हमने हिस्ट्री की टेक्स्ट बुक्स में पढ़ा है, very irrelevant chapters have been portrayed like more significantly. शिवाजी महाराज को तो जिक्र ही नहीं है, बस एक पैराग्राफ में ये थोड़ा बहुत. मैंने तो आई थिंक असली हिस्ट्री तो स्कूल खत्म होने के बाद सीखी है और पढ़ी है, लाइक आउट ऑफ स्क्रिप्चर्स एंड रीडिंग ऑल दिस. I'm like, oh my god, we are such brilliant cultures. So इतना हमारे में है, इतना richness है, इसमें तो कोई डाउट ही नहीं है. यानी डाउट की तो वो ही नहीं होनी चाहिए गुंजाइश. पर हम अपने आप को इतना जज करते हैं और हमें लगता है कि और हमसे ज्यादा बेटर है. और रही बात अपने, दिस इज व्हाट हमको जब चीजें पता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि सिखाई भी नहीं गई. जो भी सीखा है अबाउट आवर कल्चर, रिलीजन, धर्म, आई थिंक हमारे पेरेंट्स से, हमारी फैमिलीज में जो होता है, जो हम देखते आए हैं, ठीक है. बट ये हिस्ट्री में तो बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट चीजें घुमा दी गई हैं. इज दिस पॉलिटिकल? यस, इट वाज पॉलिटिकल. अब चाहे वो कांग्रेस हो या जो भी वहां पे उस टाइम पे रही होगी. हम तो सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी के बारे में कितना कुछ नहीं जानते, उनका क्या हो गया, राइट? So a lot of things have been taken away from the Indian population, and as a citizen, we don't know about our freedom जो भी है, और हमारे जो इतनी rich culture और heritage, Harappan civilization, the most modern civilization that the world has ever known. तो ये सब चीजें जब थी नहीं हमारे सिलेबस में, तो हम सीखेंगे कहाँ से? तो वो तो जागृति और जिज्ञासा जब होती है, हम अब जाके सीख रहे हैं, पढ़ रहे हैं. मैं तो यहाँ पे एक रणवीर शो आता है यूट्यूब पे, ही इज अ बिग ब्लॉगर, राइट? द बियर मसल. मैं तो उसको बहुत देखती हूँ. आई थिंक मैंने जितनी पढ़ाई स्कूल में नहीं की है अबाउट हिस्ट्री एंड ऑल, मैंने उससे सीख ली है. तो इतने अच्छे लोगों को वो लेके आता है, who are well known in their field. They come, they talk about tantra, they talk about so many aspects of even culture, history, religion, so many things. तो हम ये सब चीज तो हम बिल्कुल अज्ञान थे, we were totally unaware. तो पूजा क्यों करते हैं, आरती क्यों करते हैं, वो तो हम कब सीखेंगे? मैंने जब अब मैंने सीखा है, not recently, but means कि after marriage I've learned so many things, हमारा culture ये. So why? Because now I'm इतना कुछ है स्क्रिप्चर में, तो हमको और सीखना चाहिए. तो आरती क्यों करते हैं, पूजा क्यों करते हैं, उसका महत्व है. एवरीथिंग हैज अ प्रैक्टिकल साइंटिफिक पॉइंट. तो yeah, so thanks to these filmmakers, at least they bring whatever point of time they're coming up with these movies, no problem, but it is coming out. I think that is a very big thing.
Yes, Mataji, we have seen so many anti-Hindu movies that have subtly conveyed all these points against Hinduism for so long, against the rule of atheistic government in India for last kitna 50-60 years. जिन्होंने सारी टेक्स्ट बुक्स की सारी हिस्ट्री बदल दी, मुगल राजाओं के नाम याद करो लेकिन अपना कुछ नहीं पता.
Yeah, the Mughal Empire, why is it glorified? The Mughals were invaders. They invaded, they destroyed so many, they destroyed our libraries.
Okay, let's move on. Let's take somebody else's view on this. I completely agree, Mataji. We don't even have concept of our own material history. Forget about the spiritual philosophy, which is so deep and very complicated anyways to understand. Everything, this whole process we are following is scientific. And so we should understand the science behind everything. So इस बारे में भी हम ये अभी इसको बंद करते हैं, इस बारे में हम
Just 2 minutes, Mataji. I'll just take like 2 minutes to talk about the history and the books we talked about. I'm not sure Mataji, which school you went to and which syllabus you followed. I went to Bihar board and Ramayana was part of my syllabus. Mahabharata was part of my syllabus, small book. At the same time, Quran was also included in a small part. Christianity was included in a small part. This was all part of our social study.
was
To
Bhagavad
talk
Gita
about
included, Prabhuji?
Shivaji, Prabhuji, just Shivaji, Prithviraj Chauhan, all those kings and everything, they were part and in equal, portions we were taught. And as we progressed from class 1 to class 10 and 12, the volume of knowledge, or the portion of the textbook kept increasing. So this popular narrative now that, hey, we didn't read this, I mean, from where did you go to a school? Because it was part of syllabus. History was part of syllabus.
कौन सा बोर्ड था प्रभु जी? हमारा
part of
CBSE.
syllabus.
CBSE में तो नहीं है. CBSE में
See,
तो नहीं है.
I went to Bihar board, so I can't say about CBSE, but we should take a look at it. Is it
I don't
really?
know, is Bihar board different from CBSE and ICSE?
Yes. Okay, so we need to apply Bihar board to the whole country then.
Yes, so that is good because probably CBSE, ICSE are the two most common boards in India, right? CBSE and ICSE.
Okay,
And
I'm going
equal.
to moderate this discussion. I'm going to mute everyone, so please just stay on mute. We are not going to have more discussion on this. There is no doubt about this that most Hindus, 99.9% Hindus are atheists. So अगर हमारी education इतनी ही अच्छी थी जैसे प्रभु जी बता रहे हैं, तो we should have read Bhagavad Gita from childhood. In all your books you mentioned, you did not mention Bhagavad Gita. In the name of secularism, we have basically lost our own culture, lost pride in Hinduism. And if Bihar board is doing that, applaudable, but that should be applied to national boards like CBSE and ICSE, but because 99.9% people did not learn this and they make up the majority of the population. So that's one point. Second point, in the name of secularism, one should not become atheistic. यहाँ पे जो क्रिश्चियन लोग होते हैं वो संडे स्कूल में जाते हैं. सो वी शुड सी कि इंडिया में जो हिंदूज हैं उनके कितने बच्चे भगवद गीता पढ़ने संडे स्कूल में जाते हैं, कितने टेम्पल्स में भगवद गीता पढ़ाई जाती है. दैट इज द क्वेश्चन टू आस्क योरसेल्फ. Did you read? Did we read? Did I read? I did not read Bhagavad Gita as a child. Who read here Bhagavad Gita? Who studied Bhagavad Gita as a child? So if 99% people here did not and 1% did, it does not matter. But in US, 99% kids go to Sunday schools and read their Bible, and Muslims read their Quran, and Jews read their book, and Guru Granth Sahib is read. So like that, have you read? Have I read? Have Nirbhay Prabhu read? Have Jagrati Mataji read? Has Manju Mataji read? If 99.9% did not and 0.1% did something, it does not matter. It's not enough. So do we know the concepts of Bhagavad Gita? I did not know until a few years back. So that is a big failure if our kids do not know the concepts and we are just, so we cannot just, we need to get our head out of the sand and see what's going on. तो ये जो हो रहा है अभी, we need to take pride in this, right? We need to promote these type of movies because movies is a completely non-violent. It may be a money maker for producer and director, but it is a completely non-violent podium to bring out some of the thoughts out there. And it is books and movies creates ideas in people's head. They implant ideas. That's why हम book distribution करते हैं. हम लोग movies नहीं बना सकते, but बहुत से लोग movies भी बनाते हैं devotees. तो जो भी movie बना रहा है and implanting ideas into people head, जैसे हम लोगों के head में ये idea implant हुए हैं against Hindus, उसी तरीके से against deity worship, मूर्ति पूजा बेकार है, all these ideas जो implant हुए हैं, उसी तरीके से अगर अब कोई movies बन रही हैं जो Islamic terrorism के against ideas implant कर रही हैं, then that should be also encouraged. So even if one girl suffered, it's a big loss for the Hinduism. Every soul matters. Mataji, let's move on with the discussion. I want to present the next point. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Okay.
Just one thing to this. अब जैसे कि बिहार बोर्ड का तो मेरे को अभी तक तो पता नहीं था. अब जब इन्होंने बोला रविशंकर प्रभु ने, तो अब मेरे को वो चीज पता चली है. ऐसे ही महाराष्ट्र बोर्ड में भी अलग है सिलेबस. बाकी इवन डाउन साउथ संस्कृत इज अ लैंग्वेज जो कि कंपलसरी है. पर सीबीएसई, मैं सीबीएसई बोर्ड से पढ़ी हुई हूँ, तो सीबीएसई बोर्ड में अभी तो मुझे याद नहीं है कि पूरी की हिस्ट्री है, हमने क्या सीखा है क्या पढ़ा है, बट इतना मुझे जरूर पता है कि जो चीज ज्यादा ग्लोरीफाइड है वही याद रहती है. तो अकबर द ग्रेट है ना, अकबर द ग्रेट, द मुगल एम्पायर को बहुत ग्लोरीफाई किया गया है. और अब तो रिवीजन भी हो रहा है टेक्स्ट बुक्स का आफ्टर मोदी कमिंग टू पावर. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट पॉलिटिकल पॉइंट, बट आई एम सेइंग आफ्टर मोदी कमिंग टू पावर दीस थिंग्स हैव बीन डिग आउट एंड दे आर इम्प्रोवाइजिंग ऑन दिस, लाइक दे आर इम्प्रूविंग द सिलेबस नाउ. क्योंकि हमको जो जितना एम्फेसाइज करती है, जिस एक चीज को अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा वो करते हो तो वो ज्यादा याद रहती है, राइट? ऐसे ही पृथ्वीराज चौहान, महाराणा प्रताप, झांसी रानी, ऑल दीज, इन सबका भी है विवरण, उसमें जिक्र है डेफिनेटली, पर इतना ग्लोरीफाइड नहीं है. तो वही मैं कहना चाह रही हूँ, किस तरीके से आप टेक्स्ट बुक्स को डिजाइन करते हो, बच्चे को वही याद रहती है. तो हमारी की संस्कृति में हमने ओ मुगल एम्पायर इज द ग्रेट एम्पायर, अकबर वाज द ग्रेट. बॉलीवुड में भी ऐसा ही है. बॉलीवुड में भी अकबर द ग्रेट पे तो मूवी बन जाती है. आप महाराणा प्रताप द ग्रेट पे भी बनाओ ना, शिवाजी महाराज पे ज्यादा बनाओ ना. पर महाराष्ट्र में आपको शिवाजी के बारे में पता चल जाएगा इफ यू गो टू महाराष्ट्र. पर इन दिल्ली में रह के क्यों नहीं आप महाराणा प्रताप या फिर शिवाजी के बारे में ज्यादा जान सकते? क्यों? आप सिर्फ महाराष्ट्र में जाएंगे तभी आपको छत्रपति शिवाजी के बारे में पता चलता है. अब और राजस्थान में जाएंगे तो महाराणा प्रताप, पृथ्वीराज चौहान के बारे में पता चलता है. हमको दिल्ली या किसी भी हम देश में कहीं पे भी रहें, हमको सबके बारे में पता होना चाहिए. शुड बी इक्वलाइज्ड. तो दिस इज द थिंग ना. बट वेरी नाइस कि बिहार बोर्ड में इतना अच्छा उनको सिखाया है धर्म के बारे में, भागवत गीता. पर सीबीएसई बोर्ड में तो ऐसा नहीं था. पर आर्य समाज मंदिर वाली जो स्कूल्स होती हैं उनमें फिर भी वो सनातन धर्म, आर्य समाज में हवन, ये सब गायत्री मंत्र, ये सब असेंबली ही वहीं से शुरू होती है. तो आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि इट इज somebody's fault, but I'm like, we were at the receiving end. We did not receive something complete, but we are completing it now. So it's never too late.
Yes.
But very nice. Hats off to who you could do it at a very early age. But I'm saying that everybody should get this opportunity. And at school where everybody is coming to learn, the education, the syllabus has to be like really revised. किस तरीके से कंटेंट उसमें डाला गया ना, ये बहुत जरूरी है. And the policy makers and the government is responsible for that. कि वो क्या देना चाहती है. That's all I want to say.
Thank you so much. Yes, very important points. And we need to be proud of our culture. It's a very great culture. We have a very ancient history, hazaron saal purani, and it's not mythology. The word mythology itself was coined by Britishers and given to us. Hindu mythology bolte hain, koi bolta hai Muslim mythology, Islamic mythology word suna hai kisi ne Christian mythology word suna hai? Raise your hands if somebody has read the word Christian mythology या Islamic mythology. लेकिन जो आपको रामायण या ये पढ़ाते हैं तो ये हो गई हिंदू मैथोलॉजी, ठीक है, क्योंकि जो बहुत एंशियंट है, क्योंकि हमने नहीं देखा, हमारे सामने नहीं हुआ. किसी ने वर्ल्ड वॉर को कभी मैथोलॉजी बोला? हमने तो किसी ने वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 नहीं देखी, तो वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 मैथोलॉजी तो नहीं थी. So we have to be very careful of, yes, we should be politically aware, and if the current political government is supporting the changes in the books, removing the influence of the Britishers and the Mughals from our current subject matters, from our movies, from our books, from our literature, from our paintings, from our names of the cities and everything, then yes, that should be, we should be taken back, need to take our country back. So okay, let's move on. Nirbhay Prabhu, I know you have some thoughts. I know maybe Jagrati Mataji also. Can we do the next topic? Because I know this will also churn out some discussion. So, okay, we'll start some questions. Is that okay? We'll go away from this movie, put a pin in it and move on. Okay, so many misinterpretations, many misconceptions and many doubts about our faith. And I'm going to talk here about Krishna consciousness, because I'm not going to vouch for rest of the all practices of all the entire Hindu religion. Hindu religion is practiced in many different ways according to people's different understandings. This is a point we all need to understand. Vedas have knowledge about अंडरस्टैंडिंग फॉर पीपल ऑफ ऑल कॉन्शियसनेस. ठीक है, जैसे कि कोई स्कूल होता है, स्कूल में नर्सरी के लिए भी होती है एजुकेशन, और 5th स्टैंडर्ड के लिए भी होती है, 8th स्टैंडर्ड के लिए भी होती है, और 12th स्टैंडर्ड के लिए, सबके लिए होती है, राइट? देयर इज ग्रेडेशन ऑफ नॉलेज इन द स्कूल. Similarly, Vedas also gives, Vedic knowledge goes from the lowest consciousness people to the highest consciousness people. So people are practicing Hindu religion on different levels based on their understanding, based on their level of consciousness, right? We are talking about the process of Bhakti Yoga, Vaishnav culture, which is the Krishna consciousness movement. So I can only vouch for the culture that I have practiced, that I am reading, that I am applying in my life, that has made differences in me. So we will compare that faith, Hare Krishna movement, the Krishna consciousness that we are following, the highest process of Bhakti Yoga, and what misconceptions, what misinterpretations can be brought up, what doubts can come up, and what atheists may think of. Atheists, sabko pata hai, atheists are non-believer of God, right? And you know what are agnostics? There are many different type of people. Agnostics होते हैं जिनको they're not sure, भगवान हो भी सकते हैं, नहीं भी हो सकते हैं, हमें नहीं पता, तो इसलिए हम कुछ नहीं फॉलो करते. तो ऐसे लोगों को वो कुछ नहीं करते कि हम क्यों अपना टाइम वेस्ट करें, मान लो भगवान नहीं हुए तो हम क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करें. तो ऐसे लोग होते हैं एग्नोस्टिक्स. ठीक है, उनको ना पूछना है, ना पता करना है, और दे जस्ट केयर अबाउट द मटेरियल बॉडी, एंड इस बॉडी के साथ जो भी चीजें हो रही हैं इसके अराउंड, इस एनवायरनमेंट में, उसके लिए दे आर वरीड, बट नॉट रियली अबाउट द स्पिरिट, क्योंकि उनको नहीं पता कुछ भी सही है या गलत है. सो दे आर एग्नोस्टिक्स. ठीक है. So those atheists and agnostics, या फिर people of other faiths that are properly following their faith, can bring up some doubts and questions that we should know. तो पहला question मैं आपसे पूछती हूँ, क्योंकि I know this will spark some conversation. I had many detailed questions also, लेकिन थोड़ा broad पूछती हूँ. जो atheistic लोग typically बोलते हैं, ठीक है, so-called progressive modern Hindus, जिन Hindus ने अपने प्रोग्रेशन के नाम पे, मॉडर्निज्म के नाम पे अपना कल्चर छोड़ दिया है, वो लोग अक्सर क्या बोलते हैं कि मॉडर्न साइंस हैज अचीव्ड सो मच मोर इन लास्ट 100 years या 200 years. ठीक है, व्हाट हैज योर स्पिरिचुअलिटी या योर रिलीजन गिवन अस. ठीक है, कि हमारी मॉडर्न साइंस का ने इतनी प्रगति कर ली है कि हम उसमें ज्यादा बिलीव करते हैं, हम स्पिरिचुअलिटी में बिलीव नहीं करते, हम रिलीजन फॉलो करने में, हम कोई फेथ में, धर्म में बिलीव नहीं करते, क्योंकि साइंस बहुत एडवांस हो गई है, हमें तो उसमें उससे सारे कंफर्ट्स मिले हैं, सब कुछ मिला है. तो इसके बारे में आई डोंट वांट बहुत लंबे आंसर्स, आई वांट बुलेट पॉइंट्स, एंड सब लोगों से एटलीस्ट एक पॉइंट चाहिए कि आप कैसे आप इस बात को रिकंसाइल करोगे, इसका कैसे आंसर दोगे. एंड लेट्स स्टार्ट विद पीपल दैट हैव नॉट स्पोकन येट, जैसे कि maybe kids have probably very good ideas about this. So let's start with Devi, Avni, Jagati Mataji, Nirbhay Prabhu, and other devotees also. So let's, Avni, Devi, would you like to start, and then Avni? Modern science का और spirituality को कैसे reconcile करते हैं in this day and age? किसका क्या रोल है, और क्यों हमें हम मॉडर्न साइंस में ही फेथ रखना चाहिए. उससे हमने बहुत प्रगति की है. जहाँ पे हम आज हैं, कार में जा रहे हो आप, या मैं कंप्यूटर पे जूम क्लास कर रही हूँ, इंटरनेट है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है, एयरप्लेन में फ्लाई करते हैं, कितनी सारी चीजें हैं. सो मॉडर्न साइंस हैज गिवन अस सो मच. सो लेट्स हियर अबाउट दिस. यस वेदी, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू राइट द पॉइंट्स एज यू स्पीक. Okay, whoever is available, then let's hear from them. Jagati Mataji, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. As I have also written in my chat, and I think like our Hindu girls from very young age, they are not get familiar with our religion and scriptures. So that could be a very big impactful, like in a study also they put more force on subjects like science and maths, not on our yoga and history.
यस माता जी, लेकिन क्यों नहीं वो फोर्स दे? हमें मॉडर्न साइंस तो बहुत अच्छी चीज है, राइट? काफी
That's
कुछ
true, Mataji, yes.
बहुत अच्छी चीज है।
शुरू से धर्म या इसके बारे में बच्चे जानते ही नहीं है, तो वो उनकी तरफ फिर मुड़ते ही नहीं है।
Okay, okay, ठीक है, I got that point. So what else? Who else would like to talk more? Vedi, Avni, are you ready now? Yes, Mataji. go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna. I would just like to put a small point. So we have been experiencing this, and we have been hearing that health is wealth, right? क्यों बोलते हैं कि health ही wealth है? ये मॉडर्न साइंस और बहुत तरीकों के तामझाम जो हमें बहुत सुख देता है, बहुत ये रहता है, लेकिन जब हमारा हेल्थ, हमारा मेंटल हेल्थ ही सही नहीं रहेगा, then how are we going to use all of those things? And how our mental health is going to be in a perfect situation? I only see the means of spirituality. क्योंकि अगर आप स्पिरिचुअलिटी को छोड़ करके बाकी चीजों में जाते हो, तो there are so many stories, so many ये लोग अपने हिसाब से अपना एक नया चीज शुरू कर देते हैं।
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, बस bullet points लेते हैं so that more people can also speak. I jotted down your point. Health is wealth. बहुत अच्छा point बोला माताजी ने। माताजी कह रही हैं कि health, spiritual health, जैसे physical health जरूरी है, mental health जरूरी है, social health जरूरी है, emotional health जरूरी है, ऐसे spiritual health भी एक aspect है हमारी well-being का, हमारी health का। Is that correct?
Yes, Mataji. Another point is कि आप देखोगे तो क्यों इतना कल, like yesterday only, I got news of 2 suicides in my family. Why it is happening that?
Okay.
जब इतना आपका साइंस ऊपर चला गया है, तो फिर क्यों नहीं बचा पा रहा है उन मासूम लड़कियों को, या फिर जो even like not only girls, but I'm like so much saddened by these news of coming up like suicides, like young men and women doing it. क्यों हो रहा है? फिर सब कुछ है उनके पास, तो मॉडर्न साइंस है, बहुत कुछ है, बट फिर क्यों कर रहे हैं फिर?
ओके, ठीक है। तो आपने दूसरा पॉइंट ये बोला कि जो रियल प्रॉब्लम्स हैं लाइफ की, जैसे कि डेथ या सफरिंग या डिजीज या ओल्ड एज, इस तरीके के चीजें मॉडर्न साइंस
सॉल्व नहीं कर सकती है,
आंसर नहीं है। ओके, गॉट इट। ठीक है माता जी, बुलेट पॉइंट्स ले रहे हैं, इसलिए मैं आई एम सॉरी, आई एम कटिंग यू आउट थोड़ा जल्दी ताकि सब लोग, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत चीजें हैं, दिस वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। इसमें मल्टी डायमेंशनल चीजें, कितना भी डीप जा सकते हैं और कितना भी किसी भी डायरेक्शन में जा सकते हैं। एक ऐसे पूरा सर्कल है किसी भी डायरेक्शन में और कितना भी डीप। तो हमारे लाइफ में दोनों चीजों का क्या रोल है, कौन सी चीज बेटर है, ये डिबेट हो रहा है अभी। सो लेट्स, यस Vedi, now you are ready to answer, I think.
Hare Krishna. Mine was also kind of similar to Anita Mataji's point, because like spirituality will give you like so much deeper knowledge, and rather your modern sciences gives you a base level of what you know. The spirituality helps you dig deeper, and it helps you understand about like your soul and your spiritual fitness, your mental fitness. It helps you with all of that, but your modern science will only help you at the physical level.
Okay.
Not anything else.
Very nice point. So I got it. So I translated into this. It gives you like a knowledge, basically means it gives you deeper confidence. You feel more secure. You're more stable, better situated, right? It gives you more stability. तो जैसे माता जी ने जो point बोला कि suicide कर लेते हैं लोग, mental suffering रहती है, ये सब कम रहेगा अगर आप better rooted हो। जैसे कि कोई इंडियन इंसान अमेरिका आ जाए, उसको अपनी रूट्स का नहीं पता, तो वो यहाँ पे बहुत जल्दी भटक जाएगा, राइट? कि वो दूसरे लोगों के साथ गैम्बलिंग, स्मोकिंग, गलत काम, कुछ भी ऐसे करने लगेगा, क्योंकि उसको अपना अंदर से गुड सिचुएटेड नहीं है, अपनी रूट्स का नहीं पता, उसके प्रिंसिपल्स, उसकी कोर वैल्यूज इतनी स्ट्रांग नहीं है। तो so this gives you deeper security, roots, confidence and stability. And I think another point sort of you gave is it teaches you the principal fundamental values, right? With spirituality, you understand the core values. जैसे कि आप लोग सीखते हो with Shubh-Vilas Prabhu, right? You learn about humility and patience and tolerance and gratitude and forgiveness and love and universal parenthood and brotherhood. These kind of fundamental values and principles is what spirituality brings in. And nobody's speaking in favor of modern science. Come on, science has given you so much. We have all these facilities. I'm able to fly to India tomorrow if I want, just because of the contribution of modern science, right? We are, yes, Nirbhay Prabhu is speaking in favor of modern science. Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu.
Yes, I'm speaking in favor of modern science because I think the topic itself needs to be changed. It should be modern science and spirituality.
Okay.
Because both are equally important. We
Okay.
need to use one in conjunction of the other. If either one is used alone, it is incomplete. So for modern science has given us a lot of benefits. The fact that we are able to conduct this class with people from India, from so many places, people traveling in the car, people coming here for Sadhu Sangha from because they have the car. It's so easy to travel versus it was never this easy to travel before. We have so many books which we are able to read by, to increase our spirituality because of the printing presses that are there, because of the paper that has been made. It's so easy to transcript books now, make books, distribute books. So
Yes.
we are using so we have to increase our spirituality because unless we have the spiritual basis, we will use the modern science wrongly. And then, just like it's a tool, just like we say knife in the hand of a surgeon versus knife in the hand of a killer. So just like that, modern science is a tool that we have to use in the right way. And spirituality, without spirituality, it will be used in the wrong way.
Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu, I got that point. I think this is the most important point. This is the point that I was trying to hit. Nirbhay Prabhu, you were supposed to wait before hitting the conclusive point. I thought you were going to act as an atheist.
Putting
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Basically, this is the point, that it's not versus, it's together. They both, that's why, like I'm a robotic surgeon. I do robotic surgery. That's the state of the art technology that medicine has ever seen. Not standing by the bedside. My hand is not inside the patient and I'm yet fixing the problem. Can you imagine a better technology than that? It's not possible to imagine that. I'm using that. But me using that, like as a spiritualist versus a completely, let's say, a sinful person or a very selfish person, what would they use that for? They would probably use that to make money for themselves and then spend that, to maybe do unnecessary surgery, or maybe to for their, basically wasting that money, whereas I may be contributing that money to the temple. So in this way, or maybe I'm giving that money to poor people, right? Or maybe I'm giving that money that with the same tool, whatever outcome I got, I may be contributing it for some good social or communal cause, right? So in this, like, just like Nirbhay Prabhu said, we should use modern science with the basis of spirituality. So आपके पास ये spiritual deep values ही नहीं हैं, all these values that these kids are learning, these principles ये नहीं हैं. So when you start using modern science, you will actually exploit people with the help of that modern science, right? वो nuclear energy से nuclear plants भी बन सकते हैं और nuclear bomb भी बन सकता है, right? So आपको nuclear bomb बनाना है या आपको nuclear plants, power plants बनाने हैं. So that, so yes, nobody is condemning modern science. So that's the point I'd write. We do not condemn modern science. We do not condemn modern science. We use it. We use it, and we use it well, actually. We use it better than any atheists in this world can use, because we use it for a higher purpose. We use it for a higher goal. So we do not condemn modern science. What is modern science after all? So कोई इसका आंसर दे मुझे. Modern science होती क्या है? बहुत बोलते हैं मॉडर्न साइंस ने तरक्की कर ली है, अचीवमेंट्स हैं, प्रगति हो गई है. इसका मतलब क्या है? कई लोग बोलते हैं कि, तो पहली बात तो ये पता होनी चाहिए स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी एक साइंस है. सो व्हेन वी आर सेइंग मॉडर्न साइंस, वी आर आल्सो सेइंग स्पिरिचुअल साइंस, राइट? दिस इज आल्सो साइंस. भगवद गीता इज अ साइंटिफिक बुक. इट इज अ बुक ऑफ साइंस. इट्स सो मॉडर्न साइंस का मतलब क्या है? कोई एक दो पॉइंट्स from Ravi Prabhu. Did you have your hand up? I didn't see that before.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, very concise. modern science is basically coming from the spiritual science. Modern science is no different from the spiritual science because we don't have a knowledge what has happened in the past. That is why we think the modern science is the new thing. Actually, it's not. And there are some examples cited in history, and I have heard this from great people. Like, say, example, there are two iron, it's called a stump in the Hindi. English में क्या बोलते पता नहीं. वो एक दिल्ली के पास है, एक साउथ में है. उसके ऊपर आज तक रस्ट नहीं लगा. It's made of the iron. तो वो साइंस था तभी वो आयरन अभी भी रस्ट नहीं हुआ है. लॉट ऑफ पीपल डोंट नो, इसलिए बोलते हैं कि आज का साइंस ही नया है और पहले में स्पिरिचुअलिटी में कोई साइंस नहीं है. तो मॉडर्न साइंस, टू द पॉइंट, इट हैज कम फ्रॉम द स्पिरिचुअल साइंस, but the only difference between spirituality science and the modern science is spiritual science doesn't change over the time. Modern science changes over the time. 5 years back we were supposed to eat 6 times a day. Now we were supposed to do a intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting was part of the Ayurvedic science, which people didn't know. Now they talk about it, so it has become new to them, but not for the people who knew.
Yes, Prabhuji, we got it. Okay. Yes, thank you so much. Sorry. Yeah, we got it. So your point is that it is nothing new. It has always been there. Only one thing I'd add to that is modern science. Basically, science जो लोग समझते हैं उसका मतलब होता है science of various aspects of material energy. कि different aspects of material energy को study करने को modern science या science बोला जाता है आजकल की दुनिया में, right? Spiritual science से अलग. कि जैसे कि हमने जो लॉज बनाए हैं लॉर्ड ने इन दिस मटेरियल एनर्जी, जैसे कि लॉज ऑफ ग्रेविटी है फॉर एग्जांपल, या थर्मोडायनेमिक्स है, ठीक है, या हमारी बॉडी को ट्रीट करने के लिए मेडिकल साइंस है, राइट. सो ये सब क्या है, वेरियस लॉज है मटेरियल एनर्जी के, जो व्हेन वी स्टडी, या फिर स्पेस है, स्पेस इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ मटेरियल एनर्जी, राइट. स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी है. So we have so much space technology, actually space satellites, जिसकी वजह से हम इंटरनेट है, जिसकी वजह से हम ये क्लासेस कर रहे हैं, या जो भी बहुत सारी चीजें कर रहे हैं इंटरनेट के थ्रू, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, so electrical energy है. So many energies that we are using, all these energies are basically various aspects of material energy. ये बात सबको पता है, right? Electrical energy है, thermodynamic forces हैं, gravitational force है, ठीक है ना, हमारी बॉडी के वेरियस एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो जिसमें डिफरेंट एनर्जीज चलती हैं, ठीक है, थर्मल एनर्जी है, न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी, दीज आर ऑल वेरियस एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ मटेरियल एनर्जी. उनको स्टडी करने को मॉडर्न साइंस बोला जाता है. सो वो जैसे प्रभु जी ने बोला, इट कीप्स चेंजिंग. क्यों? क्योंकि वी जस्ट कीप डिस्कवरिंग मोर एंड मोर. क्योंकि कृष्णा की बनाई हुई इस प्रकृति में बहुत चीजें हैं डिस्कवर करने को, और ये हमारी लिमिटेशन है कि हम उसको नहीं जानते, बिकॉज वी आर सो माइन्यूट. So when we keep discovering those things, Krishna has made them, so he knows all of them. He knows about the laws of gravity, and ऐसा नहीं है कि उनको कोई वो मुकुट डाल के खड़े हैं या फ्लूट बजा रहे हैं तो कोई ये सोचे कि इनको ये laws नहीं पता. He knows, he made all this प्रकृति, right? अहम सर्वस्य प्रभुवो मत्ता सर्वम प्रवर्तते, right? कि मुझसे ही सब कुछ आता है, मैं ही सबका बेसिस हूँ, मैं ही सबका वो थ्रेड हूँ जिसपे सारे पर्ल्स लगे हैं. तो हम तो सिर्फ इनको डिस्कवर कर रहे हैं. तो हमारी डिस्कवरीज, हमारी नॉलेज कीप्स चेंजिंग बिकॉज वी कीप डिस्कवरिंग दिस एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ मटेरियल एनर्जी, राइट. सो दैट इज ऑल दैट मॉडर्न साइंस इज. बट स्पिरिचुअल साइंस जो होती है वो चेंज नहीं होती. जैसे प्रभु जी बता रहे थे, स्पिरिचुअल साइंस जो होती है वो एटर्नल है, वो चेंज नहीं होती. वो हमारा एक फाउंडेशनल लेवल है ऑफ आवर बीइंग. हु आर वी आर द स्पिरिट सोल. So the science that caters to the spirit soul is spiritual science. The science that caters to this body and things around it, material energy, prakriti around it, that is material science, modern science. जिसको modern science बोलते हैं, that is basically material science. तो ये पहले ये definition पता होनी चाहिए, then we can. तो इसलिए जो लोग बोलते हैं actually they do not know anything. So that's why we are giving you these tools, so you know these things. So जो लोग बहुत ही अपने आप को pseudo intellectuals, fake intellectuals that have actually no understanding of what spiritual science means will try to argue with you ki modern science, but bhai, what do you know about modern science? You actually yourself do not know what modern science is. So here, let me tell you about modern science. Modern science is what is created by Krishna. It is the various aspects of material energy that we are now discovering. जैसे इसका एग्जाम्पल हम ओगलीला प्रभु देते हैं कि एक बॉक्स है, it is full of pigeons, let's say. तो पहले हमने उसमें से एक पिजन पुल किया, इट वाज व्हाइट इन कलर. तो आप बोलोगे ओ ऑल पिजन्स आर व्हाइट इन कलर. काफी सारे पिजन, पहले 5 पिजन व्हाइट कलर के निकले, तो आप बोलोगे सारे पिजन आर व्हाइट इन कलर. फिर आपने निकाला तो उसमें से ब्राउन कलर का निकला, तो बोलोगे ओ सफेद कबूतर, नाउ ब्राउन कबूतर. ओके, सो change the textbook. Why? Because pigeons are not just white in color, pigeons are also brown in color, so change it. Then you started pulling and now blue color pigeon came out, and now you'll say, oh no, change the textbook. Pigeons are not only white and brown, but they're also blue. So that's how modern science is. We are just discovering things that already exist, that are already created by Krishna, that are already there. Whereas spiritual science does not change because it is a science of spirit soul. So that was also created by Krishna, and that has been given through our scriptures. तो इसलिए हम scriptures पढ़ते हैं, because that gives us the spiritual science. क्योंकि वो scriptures में दी हुई है, इसलिए scriptures कभी change नहीं होते. इसलिए जब लोग बोलते हैं कि तुम 5000 साल पुरानी भगवद गीता क्यों पढ़ते हो या हजारों साल पहले scriptures क्यों पढ़ते हो, because scriptures are catering to spiritual science which does not change, because we are always spirit soul. We were spirit soul thousands of years back. We are spirit soul now. We will be spirit soul thousands of years in future also. तो वो change नहीं होंगे, वो rules change नहीं होंगे. तो इसलिए scriptures को इसीलिए पढ़ा जाता है, because they cater to spiritual science. So the role of spirit soul, its connection to the Lord does not change. Its role as a servant to the Lord does not change. Its a path to reach Krishna does not change. So that is why spiritual science is eternal, unchanging, and can be learned through scriptures with the help of a bona fide guru. So this is the main thing, but the main point is that we use them together because they are both made by Krishna only. So हम उन दोनों को together use करते हैं. We do not disrespect. We use modern science. We actually contribute to it. I have myself done a lot of research and will continue to do so, because we should all be contributing so that we can work for the welfare of humanity. So that's how you use modern science, with the proper spiritual principles as the foundational basis. Anybody else wants to add any more point to this? And maybe we can take one more question. Yes, Manju Mataji.
Yes, I think everybody has pointed out all the important points in this topic, and as very nicely said by Nirbhay Prabhu, that it is interrelated. So I was trying to think that how to give a point for this and not give a point for that. So it is definitely, no doubt, it is interrelated. Technology is good. Modern science is important for us in survival of this age and era. Without that, I think a lot of things could not have been made possible, which are possible today. But the way technology has to be used, like for the benefit of society in the right way, is also very important. So too much of anything is not good. Having said that, I would say that spirituality is the basis of our existence. And when we realize this, it shows us the karma and the dharma. So we have modern science, we have all the equities to enhance our life, enjoy, but where to go? Where is the direction? This comes from being rooted in spirituality and to lead a life with the right karma and dharma. So I think that is what spirituality is important. We can't neglect it. But if we are in ignorance, it's nice that modern science ki wajah se we can, if we don't know Sanskrit, we can still translate those texts and we can read them. So modern science has a very important role to play, so that it's like a circle. We're coming back to spirituality. So both are like, yes.
Yes, Mataji, both are interrelated, connected. And you brought up a very nice point, actually, I'm going to add. Too much of anything is not good. So modern science ko bhi dhyan se use karna chahiye. If you implement it in the wrong way. So many people says that science has cured cancers. But thousands of years back, hundreds of years back, those cancers actually did not exist. So some of those cancers are existing because of the misuse of the various technology and various aspects of science. For example, plastic waste, right? That has created so much pollution in the seas and whatnot, or our ozone layer is depleting from the excess use of all this carbon related smoke and stuff, right? So excess of it is not good, and we should be cautious on when to not use it in excess. इसलिए कृष्णा की दी हुई सभी चीजों को moderation में use करना चाहिए अपनी life में. इसीलिए हम अत्याहार नहीं करते. अत्याहार मतलब excess में use करना. So excess is not good. So ये भी realization होनी चाहिए. लोग बोलते हैं कि ये बीमारी इससे ठीक हो गई, वो हो गया. But so many बीमारीज have also been created because of the science itself, because of the latest technology and misuse of our technology as well. So,
yes.
so also remember that. So बहुत चीजें क्योर इसलिए करने की जरूरत पड़ रही है because they are existing there by our current modern lifestyle, which is because of many excesses. तो बहुत सारे excesses की वजह से फिर divide भी होता है लोगों में, बहुत poor and बहुत rich, and so many problems happen. So excess is not good. Okay, next question. Let's take one. Is everybody enjoying this discussion? Yes? You want to hear one more? Or does anyone else have a question? Let's see before I take a question. किसी को कोई ऐसा, let me stop this. किसी को कोई question that you think will be good? I'm not talking about practices से related कि क्या खाएं and all this stuff. You know, those are not. I'm talking about think from an atheistic point of view, agnostic point of view, and what may be a burning question that they may have. Yes, Prabhuji.
I think Mom, Mama और शीतल माता जी ने कुछ बोला नहीं है अभी तक. Maybe they also need to answer some or say something.
Sure. Yes, Prabhu. Let me hear Ravi Prabhu's question, and then let's take. Yes, Prabhu.
My question, Mataji, if some of the people or the children, they say they are doing the spiritual sadhana or sadhana bhakti because they've been asked to do it, even after doing it for a few years, what should be the answer?
Okay, very nice question. So somebody is doing something in a disciplined way, and they have not developed the taste for it, so they're not doing it in a spontaneous way. Why is that? What should be the answer? And I have इसका similar related सा ही मैंने थोड़ा डाला था यहाँ पे. उसका नाम था happiness.
क्वेश्चन है कि अगर वो आदमी उसके लाइफ में नहीं रहेगा तो there are chances that person will stop doing it. So just because of वो आदमी present है लाइफ में, it has been happening. So उसका क्या आंसर होना चाहिए? या कुछ आंसर है? मैंने like it's just like okay, continue your sadhana. एक दिन भाव आएगा, एक दिन प्रेम आएगा.
Okay, yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, वो तो हमने थोड़ा पहले भी बात किया था. We give इसका मैं एक आधा point बता देती हूँ. Then I think इसमें आपको थोड़ा आंसर मिलेगा जो मैंने next topic सोचा था. Main thing is कि you cannot force anyone. We never do that. We just guide people. We never impose on them. तो जब तक वो आपके dependents हैं, बच्चे हैं, तो you can guide them. You can give them discipline because बच्चों का तो ये है कि उनको स्कूल जाना भी नहीं पसंद. तो क्या स्कूल जाना छुड़वा देते हैं हम? नहीं, they go to school. उनको ब्रश करना भी नहीं पसंद, उनको रोज नहाना भी नहीं पसंद, तो क्या वो छुड़वा दोगे? या खाना भी मिस करके उनको बस खेलते ही रहना है, बाहर खेलते ही रहना, खाना भी नहीं खाने आएंगे, तो क्या हम उनको खाने के लिए नहीं बुलाएंगे? So as long as they are your dependents, you will of course have to discipline them, give them a routine in which they can practice the things that you think are beneficial for them. जैसे खाने के लिए बोलते हैं, जैसे नहाने के लिए बोलते हैं, ब्रश करने के लिए बोलते हैं, बाथरूम जाने के लिए बोलते हैं, और ऐसे ही पढ़ने के लिए बोलते हैं, ऐसे ही स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी हम बोलते हैं. माता जी ने बोला ही था कि हेल्थ का एस्पेक्ट है वो, राइट? हेल्थ इज वेल्थ. जैसे हमारी सारी हेल्थ है बाकी की, उसका भी एक एस्पेक्ट है स्पिरिचुअल हेल्थ. सो इट इज वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ आवर वेलबींग. तो इसलिए हम उनकी वेलबींग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं. सो वी give them some spiritual practices. But वो जब हमारे लाइफ में नहीं रहेंगे, उसके बाद भी very hard for us to, we can again still guide them because they are still our dependents. Yeah, but once they grow up, they have an independent mentality. They'll come in contact with many elements from outside, and if they decide to change their path or do something, then you know a lot of it is their destiny, their karmas. There are many things in play. We cannot decide the outcome. We cannot minutely control anybody's life. We can only try. We can barely control our own life. Very minimally control our own life. तो किसी और का तो हम नहीं कर सकते. Even अपने बच्चों का भी. We can only pray for them. So you just pray for them. Krishna. That's how I think about it, Prabhuji. Happiness के बारे में मैं बोल रही थी. हम religion में कोई आपको ऐसे पूछे आके कभी कि क्या ये करने से मुझे खुशी मिलेगी, हैप्पीनेस मिलेगी? आप लोग बोलते हो चैंट एंड बी हैप्पी, लेकिन मैंने तो बहुत लोगों को देखा है, बहुत सालों से चैंटिंग कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उनको तो बहुत दिक्कतें हैं, बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, कोई कैसे खास खुश तो नहीं लग रहे वो. समटाइम्स आई फील आई एम मोर हैप्पी देन देम. दे आर हैविंग टू कंट्रोल देयर सेंसेस, अनियन गार्लिक नहीं खा रहे, या सुबह उठ के आरती करते हैं, चैंटिंग करते हैं, I think I'm maybe more happy than them. I don't want to change. So does religion, does spirituality bring happiness? इसका क्या आंसर है? एंड इसको कई तरीके से फ्रेज किया जा सकता है, but that's how I could come up with. So let's hear from Nanaji and Sheetal Mataji. They have not said anything. Mataji, please share some thoughts.
हेलो, हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हाँ जी माता जी, मुझे लगता है मॉडर्न साइंस और स्पिरिचुअलिटी
प्रभु जी दूसरा
मेरी-
क्वेश्चन। अच्छा चलिए आप बताइए। हाँ बताइए। Yes.
अच्छा, मेरा एक समझ है ऐसे, सर्वे सुखिना संतु सर्वे संतु निरामया, ये हो गया मॉडर्न साइंस। सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कस्य दुःखम् आप्नुयात्, तो ये हो गया स्पिरिचुअलिटी। ये श्लोक को अगर आप देखेंगे कि सर्वे सुखिना संतु, मॉडर्न साइंस में ऐसे है कि कोई भी दुख शारीरिक हो मानसिक हो तो मॉडर्न साइंस में इतना है कि वो ठीक कर सकता है। सर्वे संतु निरामया, आरोग्य से निगड़ित है कि आपका आरोग्य भी मॉडर्न साइंस अच्छी तरह से रख सकता है। लेकिन सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, सबको अच्छा देखना है तो इसके लिए स्पिरिचुअलिटी ही चाहिए। मुझे जहां तक मुझे लगता है कि ये श्लोक मैंने ऐसे थोड़ा सा, और सर्व माकस दुख माप्रयात, मैं मेरा जो दुख है जो भी मुझे सहना है तो उसके लिए मुझे स्पिरिचुअलिटी चाहिए। इतना ही मुझे कहना था मैम। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice point. So yeah, we should use for welfare of all, and it can give comfort, and हमारी life comfortable हुई है because of modern science. So हमने जो discoveries की हैं वो अच्छा है because they give us comfort and cure certain things. Yes, Prabhuji. Sheetal Mataji, would you like to add something? Either this
Mataji,
question or the next one.
इसी पे modern science, like Nirbhay Prabhuji said that how we should use both modern science and spirituality in conjunction. For modern science, matlab can do like with modern research and findings, you can find something new, पर उसका जो application होता है उससे जो सुख मिलता है या जो benefits मिलते हैं, that at a human level it can be only experienced, that happiness. तो वहाँ पे तो spirituality, like it will be like in spiritual in that essence.
हरी बोल। थैंक यू माता जी, आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बोला। एक्चुअली वी मिस दैट पॉइंट, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। सो ये पॉइंट माता जी ने बोला है, I'll just rephrase थोड़ा सा। माता जी ने बोला है कि आप उससे कुछ डिस्कवर तो कर सकते हो, बट जैसे कि उसको जब अप्लाई करोगे तो जो उसका फुल एक्सपीरियंस है वो आपको स्पिरिचुअलिटी की अगर फाउंडेशन होगी तब आएगा। राइट? इज दैट राइट अंडरस्टैंडिंग माता जी? राइट? you cannot get full, जैसे कि लोग कार ले लेते हैं, मान लो किसी ने कार ले ली, लेकिन अगर वो मटेरियलिस्टिक पर्सन है, उसको कोई स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज नहीं है, फाउंडेशन नहीं है, तो वो क्या करेगा? ही वांट्स नाउ नेक्स्ट लेवल कार, राइट? या उसको कार टूट जाए, कुछ हो जाएगा, क्रैश हो जाएगा, तो उस पर रोएगा बैठ के, राइट? क्या होगा? ही विल गेट एंशियस कि मैं कार चला रहा हूँ, मेरी कार को कुछ हो ना जाए, कोई चोरी ना कर ले, लग ना जाए, और लग गई तो रोएगा, दुखी होगा, राइट? लेकिन अगर कोई वो स्पिरिचुअलिस्ट पर्सन होगा जिसने कार ली, वो उसका फुल एक्सपीरियंस करेगा कि देखो भगवान की मर्सी से वो कितना ग्रेटफुल फील करेगा। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ही फील ग्रेटफुल दैट कृष्णा गेव मी दीज रिसोर्सेज दैट आई कुड बाय दिस कार, नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू यूज दिस कार इन सर्विसेज, आई एम गोइंग टू लोड अप माय कार विद बुक्स एंड गो फॉर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, आई एम गोइंग टू टेक डिवोटीज फॉर अ कीर्तन एंड हरि नाम इन द पार्क, राइट? या फिर मतलब इसको इंजॉय भी, उसकी इंजॉयमेंट भी एनहांस हो जाएगी बाय उसकी उस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करने की इंजॉयमेंट भी एनहांस हो जाएगी। तो जो हम पिछली बार इंजॉयमेंट की बात कर रहे थे, वो इंजॉयमेंट मटेरियल चीजों से जब लोग लेते हैं तो वो बहुत टेम्परेरी होती है, लेकिन जब स्पिरिचुअल कॉन्सेप्ट से इंजॉय करते हैं तो वो बहुत ब्लिस देती है वो चीज। एक्चुअली उसको सर्विस में यूज करने से जो ब्लिस मिलता है लोगों को, नहीं तो जैसे वो मेडिसिन प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, उनको कितना स्ट्रेस रहता है, कितना एंग्शियस रहता है, लेकिन अगर कोई डिवोटी होगा उसको मैं तो कृष्णा का इंस्ट्रूमेंट हूँ, मैं तो उसी टेक्नोलॉजी को कृष्णा की सेवा में यूज कर रहा हूँ, इफ ही वांट्स ही विल क्योर दिस पर्सन थ्रू माय हेल्प एंड एवरीथिंग अप टू हिम। तो वो एंजॉय करेगा अपना, उसको कोई एंजाइटी नहीं रहेगी, उसको कोई फियरफुल नहीं रहेगी। जबकि same modern science can give you fearfulness, anxiety, disturbance while using that technology, whereas a devotee using it in the service of Krishna is completely fear-free, completely enjoying it, completely immersed in it. तो बहुत valuable point बोला माता जी. कोई इसकी जो anxieties आती हैं by just using material energy separate from Krishna gives you a lot of anxiety, gives you a lot of fear, gives you a lot of disturbance, वो चली जाएगी. तो पूरा enjoyment हो पाएगी. तो no anxiety, no fearfulness, क्योंकि material energy को जब हम कृष्णा से separate करके करते हैं तो उससे दिक्कत होती है, जैसे रावण को हुई थी when he separated Mother Sita from Lord Ram. So anxiety, fear कुछ नहीं रहेगा. Okay, very good. Mata ji, would you like to add a point about this also? कि हमें क्या religion से या spirituality से, कुछ तो आपने इसी में ही बोला है अभी, happiness मिलती है क्या हम लोगों को जब बताते हैं एथिस्टिक लोगों को कि ये path follow करो because this can make you happy? ये बात सही है, गलत है? क्या हम झूठ बोल के उनको इस path में ला रहे हैं? Are we lying to them when we say it makes you happy? Are we really happy while practicing spirituality? We have so much restriction, so much limitation. So are we really happy? Yet we are telling people this path will make you happy. Okay. Vedi?
मतलब जब एक्सपीरियंस सॉरी
Yes, Mata.
जब एक्सपीरियंस हो जाता है और उस एक्सपीरियंस का अनुभव हो जाता है और उसका आप वर्णन कर देते हो दूसरों को, तो यस इट विल मेक यू हैप्पी.
Okay. So spiritual experience जब होता है, जब realizations होती हैं, right? So with your daily practices, sometimes you get spiritual realizations and experiences that are very profound and deep, right? And deep realizations, they give you the happiness, right? That's a very good point. Yes, Madhavi. Okay, let's take more. तो spiritual realizations काफी deep होती हैं, कहने का मतलब है जो material level पे enjoyment होती है वो बहुत superficial रहती है, तो उसमें जो enjoyment मिलती है वो ट्रिप कोई खास happiness नहीं देती, जबकि spiritual movement थोड़ी कम रहेंगी लेकिन ज्यादा deep, ज्यादा गहरे impressions छोड़ती हैं, right? Yes, Anita Mataji and Binay Prabhu, please share.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So again, what is happiness? Happiness is something that कि आप fearful नहीं हो, anxiety में नहीं हो, and all those vices जो हम बात करते हैं. और spirituality makes us free from those fears and anxiety, and that's how we are able to feel that happiness also. Otherwise, if we are in material entanglement all the time, we are just entangled with because of those fear and always we are in anxiety.
यस माता जी, तो मैंने ये लिखा है कि आपको fearfulness नहीं रहती, एंजाइटी नहीं रहती, डिस्टर्बेंसेस कम फील होती हैं, आपको इनर, वही जो पहले भी हमने एक पॉइंट बोला था, इनर सिक्योरिटी सी रहती है, कॉन्फिडेंस एंड सेल्फ एस्टीम काफी इंप्रूव हो जाती है, एक कॉन्फिडेंस आता है बिकॉज यू हैव कॉन्फिडेंस इन कृष्णा, तो उसकी वजह से आपको कॉन्फिडेंस आता है, एक डीप तरह की एक स्टेबिलिटी रहती है, राइट? तो उससे बाहर की चीजें आपको ज्यादा तंग नहीं करती, थोड़े बहुत छोटे मोटे आर्ग्यूमेंट्स एंड ये सब कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay, good. Yes, Mataji. And then let's see. Let's hear from Vedahi, then Manju Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna. So that first question you asked with the happiness, because we have to control our senses, we don't need onion, garlic, stuff like that. I think for that it'd be like, because Krishna sees the effort you're putting in, and so when you know that you're putting effort for Krishna, then you'll become happy knowing that you're pleasing him. That's kind of my point.
Okay. So this is how I would phrase this. Vedi, tell me if this is the correct understanding. So connection to Krishna, service, right? Instead of the enjoyment and mentality, service mentality, you're saying gives us more happiness, right? That gives us, so and we see that in everyday life, right? अगर आप किसी के लिए कुछ करो, मान लो कि जैसे कि आप रास्ते, कोई किसी की कार खराब हो गई रास्ते में, आप उसको उतर के हेल्प करो, है ना? इट इज अ लिटिल बिट अनकंफर्टेबल उसको हेल्प करना, है ना? आपके लिए एक सैक्रिफाइस वाली बात है, लेकिन उसको हेल्प करके जो आपको अच्छी सी फीलिंग आएगी, कितनी डीप नाइस फीलिंग आएगी, उसको वो बंदा खुश होगा, आपको अच्छा लगेगा, राइट? That will be leave a deeper impression on you. That feeling, that service feeling will give you more happiness than if you were just drinking coke in the car or just enjoying and just अपने लिए कुछ करते. तो अपने लिए कुछ करने से, मान लो कोई अपनी कार का टायर अपनी खराब होगी, कार का टायर, उसको चेंज करने से ज्यादा जब वो किसी दूसरे की हेल्प करके उसको चेंज करता है एज अ सर्विस मेंटालिटी, तो सर्विस मेंटालिटी ऑलवेज गिव्स मोर हैप्पीनेस। पहले भी हमने पढ़ा था ना पिछली क्लास में, दैट सर्विस, सेवा इज द मेवा। सेवा खा के मेवा नहीं मिलता, सेवा ही मेवा है, right? Remember that point? So yes, service mentality instead of the lordship mentality, instead of the ownership mentality, instead of the enjoyer mentality, service mentality gives more happiness. Okay, good. So जब हम spiritually advanced होते हैं तो हम service attitude में ज़्यादा रहते हैं, so that gives happiness. Okay, more points. और कौन? अच्छा, yes, Manju Mataji, you wanted to share something?
Hare Krishna. I think Avni, she covered up my point. I was about to say the same thing, and everybody has said that I agree with all of those points. I had similar points, but I think I'll just add one more thing to it.
Yes.
तो भक्ति ऐसे ही नहीं आती है, भक्ति सभी को नहीं आती है. Like you have to really work towards it. So as we grow, our karmic like हमारा क्या कर्म था पहले और अभी कैसा है, from what point do we catch up at? तो I think धीरे धीरे आती है भक्ति, और जब भक्ति आती है ना तो like God will choose you. Like भक्ति जब आती है आपको, तो आपको समझ में आता है कि हाँ भाई there is something in this. Like पूजा में, पाठ में, भगवान की इसमें कुछ तो आनंद है. वो जब आप रस चख लेते हो ना, तो this is spirituality. The other thing I would say कि अगर हम spirituality से अलग रहते हैं ना, तो we are always in the horde of like catching up with things, materialistic things. तो बहुत catch up. But when it is spirituality, you are grounded and you loosen up. So you loosen up, you accept people more, you give more, and you feel more relaxed. And I think this is where the happiness comes, as the I think Avni, she just spoke about, like the happiness in giving and including everybody, to look people in a different perspective. Like even if you sit outside and you watch people, पार्क में बहुत सारे लोग आए हैं, तो उनको आप किस तरीके से देखते भी हो ना, जैसे कि you understand them more. Instead of getting angry or like judging people, you accept them more. किसी का view है, जो भी है, you accept them with a third person, like as a third person. You are not going to judge them more. You're not going to say, oh ये ऐसा है वैसा है. You have an understanding that कि ये ऐसा क्यों है और ये situation ऐसी क्यों है. So I think this comes with spirituality. So spirituality gives us more, like it keeps us away from such things which will confuse us, or which will put us in a argument, or which will like put us in trouble. तो हमें फिर समझ भी हमारी बेटर ही हो जाती है. तो हमें ये भी पता हो जाता है कि कहाँ पे इन्वॉल्व होना है, कहाँ पे नहीं होना है, कहाँ पे चुप रहना है, कहाँ पे बोलना नहीं है, क्योंकि पता है कि यहाँ पे बोलने का फायदा नहीं है. तो spirituality keeps you like gives you those fruits of being grounded and surrendering, and that is where the happiness lies in spirituality. That's what I
Thank you,
I'm
Mataji. I noted down your comments in 3 points actually. तो आपने एक तो पॉइंट ये बोला अभी जो लास्ट में बोला, full blossoming of our consciousness, कि जैसे it expand, this is how I rephrased it, it expands our horizons. तो आप सबको, जैसे जिसको मैं universal brotherhood या parenthood बोल रही थी, right? You understand that everybody is a jiva, everybody is a spirit soul who's, they're all struggling just like us with various aspects of material energy, with their greed and anger and lust and various emotions and various disturbances in their life. किसी को professional life पे, किसी को emotional level पे, किसी को कुछ. So आपके horizon expand होता है, आप सबको समझ ज्यादा पाते हो, आपकी consciousness blossom होती है. That gives you happiness. दूसरा आपने बोला कि spiritual values apply करने से, जैसे gratitude का, forgiveness का, self sacrifice का, humble रहना. आप जैसे कि कोई आपको कुछ बोल दे और आप उसको retort करो, या फिर आप चुप रहो, तो आपको mostly not fighting with that person, not arguing will give you more peace and happiness than if you were arguing with that person, right? So letting go, forgiving, gratitude, all those principles, when we actually apply humility, all these things give higher happiness. Tolerance, patience, all these things give higher happiness. So the whole concept here is, when we say happiness from spirituality or religion, happiness, this is my point here, next point, my point that I'll add, कि हम जो बात करें, it is not just a mundane happiness of material world, it is a higher bliss. It is a bliss actually, it is a higher happiness that you feel, it is on a different realm. जैसे मैं आपको इसका एग्जांपल देती हूँ, जैसे मुझे क्रिकेट का बहुत ज्यादा तो नॉलेज नहीं है, मे बी निर्भय प्रभु कैन आंसर. लेकिन जैसे कई लोग स्टेट लेवल पे खेलते होंगे, कई लोग नेशनल लेवल पे खेलते होंगे, कई लोग इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे खेलते हैं। अब कोई स्टेट लेवल पे खेले और वो टॉप मोस्ट हो स्टेट में, ठीक है, तो वो अपने आप को सोचेगा कि ये तो बेस्ट है, मैं तो बेस्ट हो गया। लेकिन नहीं, जब तुम नेशनल लेवल पे खेलोगे, एक दूसरी रेल्म है वो, कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ टैलेंट एंड कंपटीशन है, जब तुम उसमें खेलोगे तब तुम बेस्ट कहलाए जाओगे। और फिर नेशनल लेवल वाले बोलेंगे कि जब तुम इंटरनेशनल में प्ले करोगे तब तुम बेस्ट माने जाओगे, अगर तुम उसमें प्ले करते हो। तो इसका मतलब कि जो हैप्पीनेस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में लोग एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं वो एक बहुत ही डिफरेंट रेल्म की हैप्पीनेस है, और जो स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड की हैप्पीनेस होती है इट बिलोंग्स टू अ वेरी डिफरेंट लेवल। उसका लेवल बदल गया है। तो जैसे कि जो प्रीमियर लीग में खेल रहा है वो एक डिफरेंट लेवल, एक डिफरेंट क्वालिटी ऑफ प्लेयर है, उसका टैलेंट उसका बिल्कुल अलग है। ऐसी जो हमारी हैप्पीनेस जो स्पिरिचुअल लेवल पे फील होती है उसकी क्वालिटी बहुत डिफरेंट है, वो बहुत डीप जाती है, बहुत डीप इंप्रेशन छोड़ती है, वो बहुत ज्यादा वो सिर्फ सुख नहीं है, वो आनंद है। तो वो जो आनंद है वो छोड़ा नहीं जाता, वो छोड़ना मुश्किल है। इसीलिए जब डिवोशन आती है, लाइक माता जी वाज सेइंग, इट इज ब्लिस, इट इज इनर एनलाइटनमेंट, एंड दैट इज ऑन अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट प्लेटफॉर्म, डिफरेंट लेवल, डिफरेंट लीग में है, वो प्रीमियर लीग है कंपेयर टू छोटी मोटी लीग जो मटेरियल लोग फील करते हैं। तो इसलिए दिस इज अ डिफरेंट लीग ऑफ हैप्पीनेस दैट कैन नॉट बी इमेजिन्ड बाय अ मटेरियलिस्ट। तो इसलिए जब हम उनको बोलते हैं कि आपको हैप्पीनेस मिलेगी और वो देखता है हमारी सफरिंग्स को, तो आप उसको ये बोलोगे कि जो आप देख रहे हो that is on a material level. The difficulties will come for everybody on material level, but the anand that we are feeling inside we cannot describe to you. You just have to apply the principles and follow the path, and you will feel a different league of happiness, which is a very higher platform. तो ये मेरा point है इसमें. Let's see any other point. Yes, Prabhuji, Ravi Prabhu. And then we'll stop after a few minutes. That if nobody else.
Mataji, yeah, I'll just make it again in the point. Day-to-day life, happiness is always, it is said, it's a state of mind. So happiness changes, it's very subjective, person to person. What is happiness to me is not happiness to my other family members. But happiness comes with certain change, or like certain, I would say certain situation, in whatever situation we are in. And this is my personal experience. Happiness comes, number one, the भाव of surrender. अगर हम अपने को डूअर मानेंगे तो हैप्पीनेस आना मेरे लिए असंभव है. दिस इज फॉर मी, ओके, नॉट फॉर एनीबॉडी एल्स. So surrender होकर के, when I'm not a doer, that is the one requirement for my happiness. Second one, happiness comes from the mind of, like a state of completion. If I complete something, even a small task, say if I want to run for 3 miles for 5 days a week, if I do that, I become happy. So the completion का जो भाव होता है, that feeling होता है, the feeling of completion and feeling of not a doer and feeling of being a mere an instrument in the hand of Supreme brings happiness to me. But as I said, some people have a happiness from a state of ownership. That is, again, as you just said, it's a different realm of happiness, because the ownership is basically temporary. Today I own one thing, tomorrow somebody will else own the same thing. So that is the different realm of happiness. But the happiness that I have experienced, and for other situation that I am for last few months and all of a few years, I feel happy when I have completed my task and I have fully surrendered, and I just don't see myself a doer, and I stay happy with
Yes,
full
Prabhuji.
energy.
Yes,
18
Prabhuji.
to 20 hours of energy every day, just because of the surrender, sense of surrender.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much. Yeah, so the question is कि कोई एथिस्ट अगर आपसे पूछता है कि ये सब प्रैक्टिसेस करने से आपको कैसे हैप्पीनेस मिलती है, so that is the answer we are looking for. So उसमें मुझे आपके में से मैंने ये पॉइंट निकाला, सरेंडर वाला, सर्विस मेंटालिटी या सरेंडर टू कृष्णा, राइट, दैट गिव्स यू द हैप्पीनेस. एक ये पॉइंट भी आपके ने निकाला थोड़ा कि इट कैन चेंज विद परसेप्शन, या लोगों की क्या एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं. सो दैट इज मटेरियल हैप्पीनेस, कि जो लोगों के पुराने बने हुए व्यू पॉइंट्स हैं, परसेप्शन है, उनसे जो हैप्पीनेस आती है वो बहुत ही मंडेन, सुपरफिशियल रहती है, शैलो रहती है, एंड इट डज नॉट रियली गो डीप इनसाइड. So that is not relevant, क्योंकि वो material रहती है काफी, और difficulties रहेंगी devotees की life में भी रहेंगी on material level. So one of the very important points I want to hit hard, very hard here is, why are we so obsessed with happiness? कृष्णा ने तो बोला है ना, this is a दुःखालयम शाश्वतम. तो हम जब happiness बोलते हैं, material happiness से क्यों इतने obsessed हैं? So we should know that the difficulties will keep coming on material level every few months, every few minutes, every few days. Things may get reversed, and there may be provoking situations, there may be reversals in life, and those things will keep coming. So if your definition of happiness is according to the material plane, then you will always be suffering. So we should not have our definition of material happiness. We should have definition of spiritual happiness, which comes, like Prabhuji said, from surrender, from service mentality, from inner enlightenment or bliss. Those things nobody can take away. From spiritual values, from the full blossoming of our consciousness, a higher taste, a higher happiness. Those things nobody can take away. So the difficulties will keep coming on material level. We should not be obsessed so much with material happiness. Prahlad Maharaj, if you remember the chapter we read, कि जो लोग material happiness के लिए try करते रहते हैं, they are going to fail in their effort, because this is दुःखालयम शाश्वतम. This is the nature of this material world, that material happiness is an illusion here. तो वो हाथ में नहीं आएगा, उसके पीछे भागते रहोगे. Okay, I'll stop here. Anybody else has any burning points they want to share? So the point here is to give you the tools, give you the thoughts, expand the thinking capabilities, and to think for yourself. If somebody asks you these questions, कोई different faith का हो, आपसे पूछता है कि आप ये क्यों इतना practice करते हो, आपको इसमें खुशी मिलती है क्या, तो आप बता सको कि आपको क्या खुशी मिलती है इसमें. अगर आपसे कोई पूछे कि क्या religion का purpose खुशी देना है, तो आप बता सको कि खुशी किस तरीके की खुशी मिलती है, और कैसे क्यों हम बोलते हैं कि spirituality, chant and be happy. Chant and be happy का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मेरे को कोई बीमारी नहीं आएगी, मेरी लड़ाई नहीं होगी, या मेरे profession में लोग तंग नहीं करेंगे. That is not chant and be happy. This is a different level of happiness we are talking about. So whenever somebody asks you, you have to clarify the definition of happiness for them. Similarly, when somebody asks you about modern science versus spirituality, you have to clarify what modern science actually means. Modern science is an aspect, it's a science of the study of the various aspects of material energy, which was created by Krishna. So when we study these different aspects, we should use them in service of Krishna. That's what we get by studying spirituality as well in relation to modern science. When we use just modern science without any level of spiritual foundation or understanding, we just exploit modern science. So actually that is a disservice to people and to Krishna. So using them together helps, and happiness के लिए ये है कि हमारी definition change करनी पड़ेगी happiness की. So just want to give you some tools to empower yourself when people talk to you, so you know, so your faith doesn't deter like those girls. Any question? Jagrati Mataji, please share. आपने ज़्यादा share नहीं किया आज.
Mataji, like I think happiness means like we become happy when we get what we want. But actually we should think like real happiness lies in what we get. We want that what we get. Like जो है उसी में खुश रहो. So I think acceptance is the key, and this attitude, acceptance, जैसे प्रभु जी ने भी बोला surrender या acceptance, ये spirituality से आएगा. Like जैसे consciousness बढ़ेगी, then we can accept this thing.
Yes, Mataji. Accept that difficulty. जो भी difficulty है उसको भी embrace it and then tackle it, right? Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Okay, let's see who else wants to share any. Agar if you like this kind of discussion, questions, we can do it again. But hopefully this will inspire you to think from other people's point of view. या फिर अगर जब लोग आपसे पूछते हैं तो आप कैसे आंसर करोगे? We should think like that. We should think. जैसे आप लोग बहुत सारे females हो इधर. So one time somebody asked me कि वैदिक culture में females की क्या position है, कैसे जैसे Muslims में जैसे उस movie में इतना ज़्यादा oppression दिखाया गया, इतना ज़्यादा subjugation दिखाया गया है of women. So वैदिक culture में आपकी practices में क्या है आपका viewpoint? So maybe all the girls here can think about that. Think about it. We should think. We should develop those links those neuronal connection in our brains. और किसी ने बोला, हेमा माता जी,
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mama, please.
I do agree with Jagrati Mataji. We should be happy with whatever we get, and we should try to proceed it further and give it to others also. This is the real mode of satisfaction.
Okay,
thank you.
Here very nice point came up actually in my mind. Yes, thank you, Mama. Very nice point came up. So this point actually ties in with the Kerala story. Happy people do not torture or treat other people badly. Happy people take care of other people. Happy people do not want other people suffering. तो और डिवोटीज को हम हमेशा बोलते हैं कि अनहैप्पी डिवोटी नाम की कोई टर्म ही नहीं होती. डिवोटी है तो अनहैप्पी नहीं होगा, और अनहैप्पी है तो डिवोटी नहीं होगा. अनहैप्पी का मतलब ऑफ कोर्स वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पीपल दैट आर नॉट मटेरियल हैप्पीनेस. पहले तो आपकी डेफिनेशन ठीक होनी चाहिए हैप्पीनेस की. हम बात कर रहे हैं जिसको भगवान का लव फील हो रहा है, जिसको आनंद फील हो रहा है, वो है उस हैप्पी डिवोटी की बात कर रहे हैं. तो हैप्पी लोग जो हैं वो कभी दूसरों को तंग कर ही नहीं सकते, राइट? हैप्पी पीपल डू नॉट cause any discomfort to other people. तो हमारे वैष्णव कल्चर में हम एक रत्ती भर का, एक दाने भर का भी डिस्कम्फर्ट कॉज नहीं करते लोगों को, राइट? सो हैप्पी पीपल डू नॉट मिसट्रीट अदर पीपल. उस मूवी में इसका मतलब वो लोग जो है वो साफ साफ पता चल रहा है, दे आर नॉट हैप्पी पीपल. दे कैन नॉट बी डिवोटीज ऑफ द लॉर्ड दैट दे आर क्लेमिंग टू बी, because they are not happy people. That's why they are mistreating other people. So the happy people do not mistreat others. क्योंकि आप तभी किसी को कुछ दे सकते हो जब आपके पास है. आपके पास भगवान का प्यार है ही नहीं, वो आनंद आपको अंदर से ही नहीं आ रहा, तो आपके अंदर इतनी घृणा भरी है कि आप दूसरों को भी घृणा ही दे रहे हो. So happy people do not mistreat others. Very important point. Thank you, Mama. Okay, any other burning points? Rekha, is that from iPhone? Is that Rekha Mataji? Nirbhay Prabhu, would you like to share? Before you could not share, would you like to share? Or Hema Mataji, yes, please share.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for joining late. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just, I wish I could have joined early. I couldn't. Sorry. The main question that I get surrounded with, people who are not, they're I won't say not following ISKCON, is that and I don't know if it's already answered. I'll look at the recording, but it's around food mostly, like the sacrifices that we make, like giving up alcohol, giving up, coffee, and giving up onion garlic. So in that case, like when you're surrounded with friends who like to enjoy it, they kind of tell you that, alcohol gives them pleasure, right? Like it loosens them up and, it relaxes them. So that's the feeling that why wouldn't someone else want to have, and they're having, so maybe they won't tell me to have it because they can understand, but how would you showcase that is a superficial feeling, but encourage them that, or educate them that this is obviously they're satisfying their senses and they're in a temporary state of happiness, but they are so convinced with that, they're so happy in that state, कि मतलब थोड़ा नशा आ गया तो खुशी मिल रही है ना, तो मतलब इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? हमें खुशी मिल रही है तो हमें खुश होने दो. That is the thing.
Yes, Mataji, I got your question. तो ठीक है, इसके बारे में कभी डिटेल में करेंगे बात. These are actually जो डिटेल से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है, जैसे फूड वगैरह, ये आप they're very nicely mentioned in Prabhupada's books also. लेकिन हमको किसी को बोलना नहीं है छोड़ने को. हम ये बोल सकते हैं कि आप थोड़ा सा नाम जप भी करना शुरू करो, या थोड़ा उनको प्रसाद खिलाना शुरू करो. Basically higher purpose पता होना चाहिए, that the higher purpose is to go back to Godhead, to as much purify ourselves as we can, and to treat this body as a temple. So all those things we should know. और जितना हम intoxicants use करेंगे, हमारा mind deluded है, हमारी body cannot function at the best, to the topmost functioning level at that time, then we cannot really serve with that body. So जितना जो आप deluded रहोगे, तो आपकी senses वगैरह, they cannot really focus on the Lord. How can you chant the names of the Lord if you're intoxicated? So all those things. So you just tell them to add Krishna in their life, give them some knowledge. बाकी हम भगवद गीता follow करते हैं, उसमें कृष्णा ने chapter 17 में clearly मना किया है कि anything that is rotten and सड़ा गला, ऐसी चीजें, they are tamasic, they're in mode of ignorance, they pollute your body, contaminate your body. So we just avoid them because we have faith in Krishna. पर पहले फेथ आना पड़ेगा कृष्णा के लिए. कोई उस छोटे टेस्ट को तभी छोड़ेगा जब उसको कृष्णा में फेथ आएगा. इसलिए you just have to give them Krishna. So you have to give them Bhagavad Gita. You can connect them to classes. You can connect them to Kirtan or Harinam or invite them for prasadam and things like that. Dhire dhire, as they get purified, and then Krishna's mercy, causeless mercy, will get them to purify also. Will develop hankering in them to follow the path. पर बहुत ज्यादा हम किसी को ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते कि ये तो पाप है and all this stuff, लेकिन हम भगवद गीता फॉलो करते हैं इसके हिसाब से. ये तामसिक है तो ये हमारी practices के लिए इतना अच्छा नहीं है. We want to stay in full focus and full our senses should be functioning the best and stuff. So and body के लिए भी अच्छा नहीं. Even on physical platform the bottle itself says this is injurious to health. So अगर कई चीजें तो मटेरियल लेवल पे भी नहीं बोली जाती, वो भी इंजूरियस होती हैं. तो सांप बनाने वाले ने ही लिख दिया है कि इंजूरियस है, तो फिर उसको भी कोई नहीं सुनेगा तो क्या करेंगे. But Mataji, we can take this later also, or सब लोगों के points we can make a bullet point like this. Any other thoughts? If not, we'll conclude. We've exceeded the time a lot. Okay, is that okay? All right. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate. We'll meet next Sunday.